Beer, one of the oldest beverages known to humankind, boasts a history as rich and complex as its flavour. Archaeological evidence suggests that beer production dates back to the Neolithic period, around 7000 BC. Emerging in ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, beer quickly became a staple. This early beer, likely a far cry from the refined brews we enjoy today, was a product of ingenuity and a testament to the resourcefulness of our ancestors. It's believed that beer was a driving force behind the shift from nomadic hunter-gatherers to settled agricultural communities. The Fertile Crescent encompassing Mesopotamia provided the ideal environment for cultivating barley and other grains essential for brewing. These early civilizations discovered that by soaking grains in water, they could initiate germination and convert starches into sugars. This sweet liquid, known as wort, formed the base for their beer. Adding wild yeast, naturally present in the air and on the grains, kick-started fermentation, transforming the wort into a mildly alcoholic beverage. While the exact methods varied between cultures, the fundamental principles of brewing remained consistent. Beer has evolved over millennia. From its humble beginnings as a simple fermented beverage, it has reflected cultural shifts, technological advancements, and highlighted changing tastes. Imagine a time before stainless steel tanks, thermometers, and hydrometers. Ancient brewers relied on observation, intuition, and basic tools to craft their brews. Clay pots, woven baskets, and stone vessels formed the rudimentary equipment of their trade. Brewing was a communal activity that frequently involved women. They often brewed within their households, brewing beer for family and local consumption. On a larger scale, brewing took place in temples, where women brewed under the watchful eyes of priests, ensuring the quality and sanctity of the brew. The process, though simple by today's standards, required extensive knowledge of the ingredients, natural processes, and needed a touch of artistry. The first step involved malting the grain, typically barley, by soaking it in water to initiate germination. This process allowed enzymes within the grain to break down starches into fermentable sugars. The sprouted grain, now called malt, was then dried and crushed, forming grist. This grist was mixed with water and heated in large clay vessels, creating a porridge-like mash. The heat helped to further convert starches into sugars, resulting in a sweet, malty liquid known as wort. The magical transformation of wort into beer known as fermentation relied heavily on the unseen wild yeast. Beer, more than just a drink, permeated every aspect of life in ancient civilizations. It was an integral part of their diets, social gatherings, religious ceremonies, and even their economies. For ancient Sumerians, beer was so vital that it was included in their epic poem, the Epic of Gilgamesh, highlighting its cultural significance. Rations of beer were provided to labourers, demonstrating its importance as sustenance and a form of payment. In ancient Egypt, beer was so important it was offered to the gods as liquid libations, poured onto altars as a sign of respect and devotion. Social gatherings and celebrations often revolved around beer. It facilitated communal bonding, lubricated conversations, and played a role in fostering relationships. In ancient Mesopotamia, taverns, often run by women, became important social hubs where people gathered to drink beer, share stories, and engage in lively discussions. With its ability to lower inhibitions and promote a sense of camaraderie amongst communities, beer transcended social barriers and brought people from all walks of life together. The production and consumption of beer, even in ancient times, was not without regulation. Recognizing its social and economic importance, ancient civilizations established laws and guidelines governing various aspects of brewing. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known legal codes, dating back to 1754 BC in ancient Babylon, included specific regulations related to beer. These laws addressed issues such as pricing, quality control, and even punishments for tavern owners who diluted their beer or engaged in dishonest practices. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs, recognizing the significance of beer in maintaining social order and generating revenue, exerted control over its production and distribution. Temples, often under the patronage of the pharaoh, played a significant role in brewing, ensuring a steady supply of beer for religious ceremonies and as rations for labourers. Determining the exact cost of a pint of beer in antiquity presents a challenge, as economic systems and currencies differed significantly from our own. However, historical records and archaeological evidence provide glimpses into the relative value and affordability of beer throughout history. In ancient Mesopotamia, for example, clay tablets reveal that labourers received daily rations of beer as part of their wages. These rations, typically around 2 litres per day, suggest that beer was a readily available and relatively affordable beverage for the working class. In ancient Egypt, the price of beer fluctuated depending on factors such as grain availability and the Nile River's annual flood cycle. The journey of beer from ancient times to the present day is one of remarkable transformation, characterised by innovation, adaptation, and a relentless pursuit of flavour. While the fundamental principles of brewing, harnessing the power of yeast to convert sugars into alcohol, remain unchanged, the methods employed have undergone a dramatic evolution. From the rudimentary clay pots of ancient Mesopotamia to the sophisticated stainless steel systems of modern breweries, technology has revolutionized the brewing process. Ancient brewers, relying on intuition and observation, had limited control over factors such as temperature, yeast strains, and sanitation. The introduction of thermometers in the 18th century marked a significant advancement for brewers, as it enabled them to monitor and regulate fermentation temperatures with much greater precision. This technological improvement allowed for enhanced consistency and control over the brewing process, ultimately leading to a more reliable and high-quality final product. The development of pure yeast cultures in the 19th century, pioneered by Louis Pasteur, revolutionized brewing by enabling brewers to select specific yeast strains for their desired flavor profiles and fermentation characteristics. Imagine sipping a beer brewed thousands of years ago. How would it compare to the brews we enjoy today? While we cannot travel back in time for a taste test, historical accounts and archaeological evidence provide intriguing clues about the flavor profiles and characteristics of ancient beers. Ancient beers were likely cloudy, thick, and often sour compared to the clear, effervescent beers common today. The use of wild yeast resulted in unpredictable fermentation, often producing sour or acidic notes. Ancient brewers often incorporated herbs, spices, and fruits not only for their flavour, but also for their preservative properties. These ingredients, along with the use of different grains like emmer wheat or spelt, created unique flavour profiles that would be unfamiliar to modern palates. With your next beer, remember its rich history. From ancient traditions to modern techniques, beer has had an extraordinary journey. Cheers.